I know that the day that we had ours, I had gotten on Slack and said, "Man, I was a little bit disappointed." Actually, the further away from it that I got, the more I kind of reflected on it and thought it didn't go quite as badly as I thought it might have early on. I do say it had been probably a month since we had done our last SOLE because of testing, and so there took some time to kind of get everybody back up to speed as to kind of what we expected. I did it 3 times. I have all 8th graders, 3 blocked classes. I did find that as we went through the day, it kind of helped if we, after Sagata's big question, may have answered or asked a couple kind of minor questions that go along with it. It kind of allowed for a little bit deeper thinking than maybe some of our first group had done. One thing that we've really been pleased about this year, it's almost what we're calling, my co-teacher and I are calling the 5th C, is the level of confidence that our students have in presenting. Early in the year, we had students like, I'm never going to go in front of class and talk about anything. It was just so happened that we had a new student for probably about a week when we did this last SOLE, and he was one who's like, I'm not going to go in front of class. And it was another student who came up to him and said, hey, dude, we just do this in this class. So it's now secondhand for our students they don't even think about standing in front of their peers and presenting their information. So that's another benefit that we've gotten from SOLE that we're thrilled about, because speaking and listening standards are very big for us. Lastly, I just wanted to say that I was, on my reflection of this, I was probably more impressed with this section of the big question than I had in any of our other SOLEs. Just the amount of in-depth discussion that went on early on, where students were sharing what they already thought about the internet and believed about the internet, and how even in a group that's pretty homogeneous, how much their experiences were different and their thoughts were different. And so the one thing that I think I added to this was that next slide, where one group actually included their pre-thoughts into their presentation before they did any research at all. So again, I know early on I was kind of like, well, our communication was great, our collaboration was great. I don't think our creativity had been as nice as it had been in the past, nor maybe some of our critical thinking, especially early on in the day. But they kind of got back into the flow towards the end. But they enjoyed it. They were really excited again about this being a multi-country, multi-classroom type of thing, and we're pretty excited about. I can't wait to share with them all of this type of stuff, because I promised them I'd show them what other classes had come up with us on this. I'm thinking here, and maybe not surprise, strong enough word, but this is again one of those, I guess, eye-opening things as a teacher, realizing again that my experience is different than my students' experience, and giving them the opportunity to speak kind of reminds me that the way I see the world through my several years is much different than the way they see the world through their 13, 14, 15 years. For instance, the internet is only delivered through wireless networks, according to them, and there's no such thing as lines and wires and things. So just kind of being reminded of seeing the world through their lens and letting them have that voice in the classroom was, like I said, it's not surprising to me because it happens all the time, but it was just one other experience. I'm like, oh, that's probably not what I would have said about the internet, but I'm glad that they kind of touched on that. Yeah, so I've actually been looking forward to the follow-up to this, because my students were so into the global nature of this and wanting to find out what others were doing. So as a follow-up, I'm going to report back to them and share with them what this group has come up with, and report it back for the students in India and Canada and around Ohio and Texas, hoping to kind of ask some of the questions that your students have come up with and see, hey, how does this match with what we found out here in small town Ohio? Wait, we didn't even think about looking into that. And then perhaps as a follow-up, allow them to choose a question or questions, and especially the question that Eric just brought up, like what might the internet be, as something that might spark some more true research, as opposed to maybe going and find out what others have done before us, really get them thinking about something. But definitely, I can't wait to report back to them kind of what this call has been like today, and kind of what we found outside of our four walls here in Washington Courthouse. So.